Well, thank you everyone for joining us today at BlockDown Latam 2020. I am here with the amazing Akon, a legend in the music industry, a legend in the cryptocurrency industry, and finally coming to Latin America to speak a bit more about his projects with us. So welcome, Akon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me.
Well, you have such a successful career as a musician, as a producer, and as so many things, philanthropy, everything that you tried doing, you've definitely achieved it and overachieved it. So I want to know, how did you first find out about cryptocurrency? I'm sure that this is a question that you've gotten a lot, but what made you think like this could have a chance to change the world, to become something revolutionary in the way we see money?
Well, I was first introduced to cryptocurrency through Brock Pierce. He kind of walked me through the process, gave me a better understanding of, cryptocurrency and blockchain. And before him, I was introduced by Ken Rakowski to even Brock. So ultimately, that connection came through people that we knew. And then as I got to understand more about it, learn more about it, I realized, man, this could be the tool that actually could change Africa, because I know there was a lot of challenges that Africans were facing. And a lot of it came to the, lack of transparency and corruption, and dollars constantly unstable, going up and down, not never really stable. So I was like, man, I think this might be the solution for Africa in general. So me a better understanding crypto and how it works, blockchain and the system and how it operates and everything like that, I knew at that moment this is something I have to focus on for Africa.
Yeah, definitely. And as a Latin American, and particularly as a Venezuelan, I think I can relate a lot with your experience.
Right,
learning about
Africans and Latin, we're like cousins. We have all the same problems, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why we decided that this would be nice to be called sibling continents fireside chat, because
right.
we do have a lot in common regarding that.
Yeah, we share all the same history, man. It's amazing.
We share the same history. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of ancestry. There are a lot of things that we have in common. And particularly to the future, I think we have two continents that can really be amazing and that can really grow with the help of tools like this. And talking about these tools that you've been involved in, well, just like I said before, you're both known for being a visionary, a philanthropist, and Akon is not the first project that you work with for Africa. You before worked on the Akon Lighting project, which is something fantastic that you were doing. So can you tell us a bit more about how it came to be, and do you think it could be replicated in different areas of the world, like South America?
Oh, yes, everything. Absolutely. And it's amazing that you say that, because a lot of the projects that I do in Africa, I do it with this, Latin American state of mind. And I also know that if it can work in Africa, it definitely can work in Latin America without a doubt. Akon Lighting Africa started off as a philanthropic project where we just wanted to provide electricity to the villages. But then when we started to realize how vast the need was and how much of a challenge it was for Africa just to get basic electricity, and ultimately so many places that were so beautiful in Africa, we felt could be valued even bigger had they had electricity. That's when we started to approach it more like a business, because we realized that charity really doesn't work in underdeveloped countries, because then you never put them in position to empower themselves. They constantly in aid and wanting and needing you to help them uplift. So we said, let's create a for-profit business where we can provide jobs to the locals, and we can also train them with all the gifts that they need to enhance the situation, not only just to maintain it or install it, but also to have basic knowledge of how it works and maybe even create their own career through it. So then we started Akon Lighting, which became the more profitable side of it. And now we're in 16 countries in Africa providing electricity. We even also extended it into the US, where we're actually decommissioning all the coal plants here and getting rid of all the old way of distributing energy here in America, and kind of helping to transform it to be more renewable and green.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that is something that we should all definitely be looking into, becoming more green. And I think that's a very interesting point that you made about it being a business, because that is the way to empower people. That is one of the things that we here at BlockDown Latam wanted to show, that it's not just about being charitable to these communities and helping them have electricity, feed themselves, be owners of their own economy. But it is a lot about teaching them how to grow their own things and how to create their own spaces, because that is the only way for us to leave poverty. And speaking definitely about these amazing projects that we're working on, we can't leave behind Akon City. I mean, I was so impressed at the last BlockDown when I finally saw the trailer for it. It is an amazing project. How did you guys first think about it? What made you realize that it could be something that could be done?
Well, Akon City was always a childhood dream. Even me in the beginning, I thought it was impossible, but I said it won't hurt to dream. Dreams only make you, motivate you to do bigger things, So I always took the words of Michael Jackson. His whole philosophy was, just aim for the stars. And if you reach the sky, that's actually big enough for most people's, achievements, So that's where it was. I was like, man, I'm just going to aim for it. I'm just going to go for it. And however and whatever it takes to get there, I'm going to do my best to get there. And as I started to grow, become more successful, become more understanding, more educated, start connecting myself around real people that done big things around the world, it was a matter of just collaborating with all these guys and saying, listen, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to pull this thing off. But it all started with the Akon situation, where ultimately we needed more utilization for the Akon. And I knew that the best way for any coin to be utilized is in an actual city, because that, provides basic utilization for everyone's day-to-day, everyday needs. And I think when you got something like that, it only grows and only gets bigger. And usefully, it brings a huge and a better impact to the people that's actually being, that's using it, that is providing by it. So ultimately, when the city concept came about, when I got to the point where we was actually creating our own currency, then I knew the idea of having our own city wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. It's really, matter of fact, just buying a big plot of land and creating what can eventually scale out to be bigger than you could ever imagine, So ultimately, that's what we did. I bought the land in Senegal, over 2,000 acres, where we actually created the most amazing architectural plan that we're building currently now, which will be a 10-year build-out plan. That will be one of the biggest mass utilizational platforms for Akon as we move into the future.
Absolutely, definitely. I think it is a project that has so much potential. Do you think it could be replicated in other cities in the world, or do you think 100%. Like it's only an African thing?
No. Africa's just a pilot. Africa's the pilot project. We want to do this all throughout Latin America as well, all throughout India, all the underdeveloped countries that actually could that could actually use a city of this sort, because it's based to be able to build, like I said, to so you can utilize it for your your basic everyday needs. And I think once you create the platform for people to use, it's inevitable. Once you log on to it and it becomes a part of your life, and that becomes what you use as basic society utilizations.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there are a lot of test projects speaking about Akon, that have been tried here in South America. There is the Dash use case. There is a Venezuelan case where a lot of people have turned to Bitcoin for adoption. Are you guys familiar with the subject of remittances? Do you think that is something that could be done with the coin here in South America? It could be a use for the cryptocurrency? Or do you think it should 100%. Be more of a communal thing?
I think it should be open. I think people should have choices. You should have your choice of fiat currency. You should have your choice of cryptocurrency. You should have your choice of mobile currency, for that matter. I think whatever works better for you and allows you to grow, allows you to build your business, allow you to feed your family, allows you to put yourself in a position of, value. I think it shouldn't matter which direction you decide to go, as long as it makes you a better person that can become a better, provider. So we're doing similar situations, like prime example in Kenya. We work on Moale Medical Center as we are being the head utilization case for all the activities that's being held in that medical city, all the way down from medication to services, to things of that nature. So Akon is actually, the spending capital for that city. And we want to be able to utilize Akon in places like Venezuela to give them other choices as well, too. So hopefully one day we'll get to the point where we can introduce it into places like Venezuela for basic everyday use and when it comes to trading.
Definitely. Well, I think that is amazing that you guys are actually testing it on a real world ground, because I do feel that sometimes a lot of these cryptocurrencies that get created for many different purposes, they don't see a lot of adoption, and they don't go through that phase of, well, let's do a pilot, let's try it on an enclosed space. Let's see if people actually use it, how we can make it better.
Right.
So I definitely think like that is something fantastic about Akon, how it's been growing to become something that people can actually use by being used, which is the most important part about money.
And the only way to know it is how to use it. You know?
Yeah.
So, and the test
And
case
learning learning how to use it is something very
better.
important. Well, a lot of people may not know who are watching our discussion because, like I said, you have a huge career in many fields, but you're actually an advisor for many African presidents, which is something that I find absolutely amazing. Can you tell us a bit more about how you think the future of these developing communities should be shaped? What do you think the African continent, the Latin American continent, can look like in 20 years with all of these projects that you're shaping, like Akon City, like Akon, like Lightning? How, if everything goes perfectly well, how do you think these communities can look like in the next 20 years?
Oh man, these communities are going to look like the biggest and the most futuristic things in the world, most developed countries in the world, most stable and organized countries. You know, like I advise my African presidents, they have to put more, faith in the youth. I think sometimes the elders they kind of sometimes take the youth for granted, and they're not understanding that a lot of the latest technologies that's being built now are all built by kids under 21. So they have to understand that the future is in their hands, and the more they, incorporate whatever their ideas or plans are with the youth, the more successful their future will become.
Yes, definitely. And I do feel that a lot of our communities, our own countries, our own communities, coming from a background of a country with a lot of inflation and with a lot of people relying on the dollar for doing everything.
Right.
We don't trust enough for our currencies or countries or resources, because we really don't. I mean, of course, the corruption and everything.
Word.
Yeah.
You hit it dead on the nose. It's trust. And trust always comes from past history, you could say behaviors. And unfortunately, when you look at underdeveloping countries, there's a lot of corruption. And the only reason why there's corruption is because there's not enough resources, not enough opportunity. So when you don't have enough opportunity, people are fighting for opportunity in every little area where they can skim and take for themselves, they're going to do it, because when we get to the point of feeling like, we're going to go down somehow, then we turn to state of survival. And everybody goes to that point where they're all in survival mode. And when you look at underdeveloped countries, everyone is in survival mode. So they're going to do whatever they can to save themselves first, and then their family, then everybody else. So with that being in mind, this is one of the reasons why we want to make sure that there's mass, opportunity provided to people, create opportunities in every direction where you can look, because the more opportunities you have, the less corruption there'll be. But then of course, when you have a stable, system like blockchain, it kind of helps to reveal all the people that's not playing fair. And that alone will always, decrease a lot of the corruption as it is. So I guess once you get to the point where everyone's adopted the system, then it will open the doors for people to know exactly what's happening, who it's happening with, how it's happening, and why it's happening. Then it would answer a lot of questions, and a lot of things would be done a lot more fair. And then more countries will grow a lot better.
Definitely. I think you put it in perfect words. I would not have said it better. I think what we need is trust, definitely for the own things that we do. And the lack of opportunity is what puts us all in survival mode. I have felt it myself in my own country, seeing how it took us many years, but it took us to a point of no return. With the way people behave. And it is incredible to see how the lack of resources really change the way people behave. It is something unbelievable. And it is something that a lot of these projects, when they don't come from our own countries or from our regions, they struggle a bit to understand that, yes, people will behave selfishly when put into a survival situation. It is something human. It is part of us. But yeah, I agree with you there. Definitely opportunities can be the way to change corruption, to change the way our governments work, to change the way we see each of our countries.
Absolutely.
So 100% with you there. And I know you're very familiar with the Latin American culture. You spend a lot of time in Miami, which is 100% Latin territory. I mean, we took over, we took over all of the Florida peninsula. And you have collaborated with some of the most amazing Latin artists. I mean, you have sung with Pitbull, with Becky G, with Ozuna. Last year, you put out a Spanish album.
Yeah, I put out a full Spanish album called El Negrito.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
The name of the album was something very funny to explain because it might come out as something a little bit tricky for other cultures.
Yeah, but what the thing is,
culture is something very fun.
If you Latin or you Spanish, you will understand the humidity in it, and the because it's more of a funny term, but at the same time, like if you don't really understand, you're not going to understand the humor in me calling myself El Negrito. And then if you come from a different culture, it can easily seem very racist, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I think you have to be of the Latin culture to understand. Like when you hear it naturally, if you're in the Latin culture, you just laugh. It just makes you smile, especially when it's me. Like it's supposed to be comedy.
Yeah, definitely. I had such a hard time explaining it to the rest of the team because they were saying like, "Hey, but should we call it like that? Like it should come out of it offensive." And it's like, no, it is actually like an endearing term. It is something you would say to your close friends. It is a very Latin thing.
But it's so crazy because the best analogy to use, and it can be uncomfortable, but it depends on the side you fit. Like how like Black people, we call each other my nigga. Like you're like, that's my nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So so when you actually have a conversation and you're like, well, why do you just call him a nigga? Like, well, you know, it doesn't mean the way you may see it, you know, it may not mean the way it was used in the past, but now it's the difference, more of a greeting. It's like my homie, like my, you know, so it's just different. So when you say El Negrito, it's almost similar, but not quite, but it's the best relation that I can probably figure or think of, you know?
Yeah, definitely. When I saw it, I was like, this is such a great idea. Like, it is a perfect name for this album. Like, I don't think any other name would have fitted as well.
No, but absolutely.
But absolutely like I said, you have such a nice interaction with our culture. And just like mentioned in this part, at first when you came into Miami or when you started working with these Latin producers and the Latin artists, and this is moving a bit away from the cryptocurrency part because it is something that I was very curious about. How was it interacting with our culture? Did you experience any cultural shock like that? Like you said, oh, these people might sound a bit strange. I'm not sure how they manage things.
There's a long history with me in Latin America, right? So when I first came to America back when I was 12 from Senegal, I spoke French, Wolof, and Spanish. You know, back in Africa, people don't realize how close African and Latin are. Like our history is actually tied. Like we're one. You know, even when you look at the Haitians and the Dominican Republics and the Puerto Ricans with the Portuguese, like we're literally the same people. It's the craziest thing. But the funniest part about it is when I first put out my first single, Locked Up, my first Locked Up single was also a Latin remix with Tego Calderon. You know?
Oh my God, yes, you're right. Such a legend.
Yeah, it was with both of them. So my second single was I Wanna Love You, which was with Tego Calderon. So like my first actual single, Locked Up, had Bolcho on them. Bolcho was from Puerto Rico. At the time, he was one of the biggest hardcore, like street reggaeton artists then, you know? And then I come back and I do records with like Don Omar and, Wisin Yandel and,
you paved the way.
Like you have no idea, since the beginning of my career, I've always done Latin music, but my hip hop artists never really knew because those two genres never merged together. You know,
and I remember when I was much younger that you were one of the only like English speaking singers who did reggaeton, like back when when it was beginning. So,
since the beginning. Exactly.
Since the beginning, you paved the way. I mean,
all those guys, man, from Daddy Yankee to Nicky Jam, like, man, you'd be surprised, man. Like, I've worked with every last one of those guys. Because before I used to write and produce songs for them, even before I got into the music myself, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's so amazing. How's your Spanish?
Well, being in New York, but the thing is, when I was in St. Louis, I had nobody to practice with. So I lost a lot of the Spanish and I lost a lot of the French, you know. But now when I'm in the studio doing the Latin album and I have my Latin writers there, you know, so most of the time I can understand a little bit, you know, comprende. But oftentimes it's always hard to kind of get back into the swing. But I know if I spent a year in either DR or Puerto Rico, I'll be speaking back very fluently for sure.
I'm sure. Well, you're always welcome to visit us. I mean, the whole continent is yours, you're Akon. We would love to have you over.
Thank you very much.
Well, just to wrap this up, I want to ask you, this year has been a little hard on everyone. I know it has been great for Akon in particular, because you guys finally get listed on Bittrex. You guys are fully launching. You guys put out the Akon City project. So I think that is fantastic. It has been a different year for everyone, but 2021 is finally coming. This year is finally going to be over. We hope the pandemic will be over soon.
It's going to be more interesting. I know 2020 was a great year for us, for sure, especially for me. I would definitely say, because I was able to launch the Akon Lighting America. We was able to get the Akon launched, like you said, on Bittrex. And we're super excited for the next partnership that we're going to be announcing in the next 30 days on a U.S. exchange. You know, so I'm super excited about that. That's coming very, very soon. And then, of course, Akon City right around the corner. So I think this is going to be, it's a big start for a huge revolution to come in the future, for sure.
Definitely. Well, what do you think 2021 is going to be like for you and for your projects?
I think in the beginning, it's going to be a little slow because there's going to be more shutdowns coming. There's a huge change of guards in the U.S. government, which I think is going to affect a lot of the stuff that we're doing from the beginning of it. But I think once, you know, Biden is actually in and he's comfortable, he has more of a forward-thinking mind, and he's surrounded by a lot of young generational thoughts and think tank makers. So I think everything that we're doing eventually is all going to catch up to what Obama's original plan was, and that was to have the world be driven by the youth. So I think it's going to be a lot better as time goes forward, unless, you know, 2024 comes and somebody interrupts it again.
Well, in 2024, we're going to have the first draft of Akon City, aren't we?
Oh, 2024, I'll be hosting, guys. So if you don't like how it's working, just move to Akon City.
Definitely. I'm waiting to have my ticket to go.
Absolutely. Especially Venezuelans. You guys get a first-class ticket for sure.
Oh, thank you. I will look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're pretty much run out of time. This has been such a fun chat. It's been so lovely speaking to you. It's been like a dream for me to finally be able to interview you and speak more about these amazing projects that we have. And I definitely want to thank you and your team so much for joining us today for BlockDown Latam. I know everybody is going to be very excited about this interview and about the partnership between our two continents.
No, absolutely. Pleasure.